So I have been given a great responsibility of introducing some amazing speakers next. It's my pleasure to introduce you to one of the most anticipated sessions of the summit, the executive fireside chat, Leading with Purpose, Shaping the Future of AI and Business with Empathy. We are honored to host two distinguished leaders whose careers exemplify the power of purpose-driven leadership in the age of AI. A visionary in technology and business transformation, Deb Pimental is celebrated for her commitment to inclusive innovation and her ability to drive meaningful change across organizations. Her leadership style is rooted in empathy, collaboration, and a deep belief in the human potential behind every technological breakthrough. John Comacchio brings a wealth of experience in leveraging technology for strategic growth. Known for his authentic approach and dedication to empowering teams, John champions the integration of empathy and ethics into every facet of digital transformation. Join us as Deb and John share their insights, their personal stories, and actionable strategies for harnessing the true potential of AI while keeping people at the center of innovation. Let's welcome them to the stage.
There's so many chairs. Which one do you want?
Yeah, I'll take this one.
You want that one? Okay.
Sure. You can sit near the flowers.
The what?
The flowers.
Oh.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for that intro, Francie, and welcome to the event today. As everyone knows, artificial intelligence is on a profound path. And you heard Christina mention this morning $15.7 trillion in potential growth by the year 2030. But beyond the numbers, what does that truly mean for how we lead with purpose, and how we shape the future of AI and business with empathy? So today, I'm proud to have the privilege of speaking with Deb and walk through all of these issues. Deb, thank you very much. And
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. I wanted to keep hearing you. So she's looking at her phone doing AI stuff. But I wanted to keep hearing you. I thought you were brilliant. Thank you for that.
Excellent. So let's get right into it, Deb. So throughout your leadership journey at IBM, how have you anchored business decisions in purpose, especially as AI transforms both opportunities and risks for your clients and your employees?
So purpose is, it's actually an interesting question because I've been talking about that a lot, especially since I've been in the industry for a while now. I don't tell people how long, but it's been 30 years that I've been doing this. So it feels like just yesterday. I know everybody says that, but it truly does. I think purpose grounds us. And I think everybody needs to know why they're doing what they're doing. So for us, especially if you look at AI, it's reshaping everything. But what I make sure that we do is that we're solving real problems and not just, it's nice to have things summarized. It's really nice to have, actually it's not so nice to have meetings summarized sometimes when you're passionate. It does put little stars when you say words that you shouldn't be saying, but it's what we're really focused on at IBM, and especially at IBM Canada, is what are the real problems that we're trying to solve? Things that if you take those away, it makes our lives a lot easier internally. So I always say we're typically like the shoemaker's children, right? So we talk a lot about this stuff, but do we really use it? So one of the things that we did internally, which we love, is we call it our client zero journey. And what that means, John, is we actually have started using AI. AI has been around for a very, very long time. This isn't a new thing, but we've started to use AI internally a long time ago. And the purpose of that was, how can we improve productivity? And productivity really means, how do we make it easier for us to get something done? Not necessarily how do you oh, how do we reduce the number of people that we have? It's about thinking differently. It's about, doing things differently. And so we have done this for many years, and we're testing it. We test everything that we talk about internally first. So this not only gives us a platform to be able to say, here's the proof point, we use it, but then we are able to go out into the market and talk about it. So I think for me, it also, that purpose, we know every day, we're reminded every day that it's about ethics, it's about responsible AI. We live and we breathe it internally first, so that when you're talking to other people, you have examples of it. So that's what we do.
Excellent. So purpose is your North Star.
It is.
And it aligns your strategy with your core values.
Yep.
And so how do you communicate that through the global teams to keep them aligned with that?
So keeping our global teams aligned with that. So, I mean, it is an alignment. So this, to me, and I say this to a lot of people, this decision to have, the responsible AI and trusted and whatnot has to come from the top. And so for us, it has come from the top. I am part of a global team, which is fantastic. And this is what we talk about all the time. We make sure that right across all geos, we're a global company, so we make sure that we're consistent in the way that we do it. We can explain it. We know where the information is coming from. We know, and we do see repeated patterns. When you start to use some stuff, you go, oh, I know what you used, right? So you start to see some of that. And so it's about making sure that the top down, and we have been giving this type of advice to a lot of different companies, because if there isn't a belief from the top that you have to be responsible, that there has to be governance, that it's beyond just guardrails, it's making sure that the technology, yes, is important, but that there are humans behind all of it. If that's not there, then it's going to be a lot harder, right? We're all kind of fighting on the ground. So we're really lucky that from the top down, it really, years ago, it was always about responsible AI. That is we believe, our differentiator. It's not about, we know that there's so much data out there. What can you do? It can be dangerous. It can be, right? You just have to be very careful. Words matter, actions matter. And so we do that from the top down, right. I'd say.
Very key, right? Very key for all leaders in this room, all leaders that you work for, that we have to maintain purpose and direction.
And one other thing, because we talk about AI and the responsibility and whatnot, but AI really is supposed to be helping us, especially if you think about businesses, it should be helping us to be more effective, to do things better. So how do you make sure that you're doing that? And so all of us have that responsibility too, is what I would say. So whether it's for us, Arvind's our CEO, we talk about it all the time. And then I have to do that here, but all of my leaders and all the people on the team, because we're all part of a team. And go back to the first question you had, which is, you just have to really understand your purpose. So if you understand your purpose and you're using AI, then you can make sure that you keep everybody kind of in line. I think that's really important, because we all have a voice. We're all important. I got invited here, which thank you very much for doing that. I always wonder why. But I started a long time ago building this community with everybody. And I can't tell you how important it is. Our voices do matter. So these little things, and you keep saying it over and over, everybody says it, but it's important that we have each other's backs through this, I think. Anyway.
Excellent, thank you. So you've led teams across AI, data, and hybrid cloud.
Yep.
So what does empathetic leadership look like when you're managing highly technical and engineering type people?
Yeah, it's interesting. I always say, I would say here, I feel that I've been very blessed in my career, but I've worked for it. So we need to own that, right? As females, and thank you for the males in the room that are our allies as well. But I work with a lot of really, really smart people, like PhDs. It's incredible how smart people are around me. And so I think one of the things that I make sure that I do is I make sure that everybody feels like they're heard. And I think that's kind of always been my my little differentiator that I may not have realized earlier on in my career. But it's really about, I don't have all the answers. By the way, neither does AI. You got to kind of bring it all together. It's about collaboration. It's about bringing that team together. And if you make people feel like they're heard, you'd be really amazed at how much all of us just want to give back and want to feel like we're valued and want to feel like our opinions matter. So I think one of the things that I'm really focused on is creating spaces for people to be able to come in and bring in their different ideas. And no idea is a bad idea, and no idea is, something that they shouldn't say. I try really hard. We all do. My entire leadership team, it's important for us to have spaces for people to have opinions. And by the way, you got to welcome those opinions. You got to make space, and you got to explain things to them, because boy, do we always go through change. But I make a joke, and I'm not sure everybody at IBM at least thinks it's funny. We change every year. Like, I've been here for 30 years, and it's every year there's something different. This is pretty dramatically different, for sure. So, it's really great to talk about it, but we're constantly changing. The one thing that I think we do well is we step back, we say, and we try to explain the whys, right? So why is it that we're doing this? Because there was, especially I'd say last year, when the buzz, people were really scared. People were worried, like, what are you doing? Am I going to be gone? Is my job going to be gone? And the reality is, I don't know, but it will change, is what I know. Things will change all the time. So we make sure that we explain the why. We give people opportunities to ask questions and to debate. And I get a lot of debates, but it's great, because it's healthy to have those debates. So I think it's all about, you can't forget, there's lots of technology, but this technology is very, very human. Right. It impacts all of us. It's intertwined in everything that we do. So if you make sure that you're transparent and you talk through it, and you make people feel like they're part of a solution. And then, by the way, it's not just the super technical people that do this. We actually have these events that we run all the time where we bring right across our organization. What are you thinking? What could we do better? What are the different ways of working? So these are some really interesting things, and how we've been able to embrace AI.
Yeah, perfect, right? So really, meaningful work touches on enabling human capacity.
Yeah.
And that's really, in a nutshell,
Yep.
especially with engineers who are really focused and like you said,
Very
want to be heard, right? Excellent,
Yes.
right? So in this room, many women leaders talk about the challenge of balancing authenticity with expectation. How have you cultivated your leadership style to be both effective and true to who you are? And what boundaries have been key to that process for you?
Yeah. So like I said, I've been in the industry for a while. I personally believe that authentic leadership is core to any leadership role that you would have. And I'd say when I started, and I've had lots of different positions, whether it's with technical people or in executive ranks or whatnot, I don't think I was always authentic to me. I always thought I had to do something, had to be some different way. I always thought that, okay, so I'll go in and I'll see how people are reacting, and maybe I'll follow that, and that'll make me successful. And I realized quickly it was really uncomfortable to try to be somebody else. It really was. And it's like, the energy that it takes when you're trying to be something that you think people want you to be, it's just negative. So I very quickly decided that I was going to be me. I was going to be authentic me. Mm-hmm. And authentic me, my principles are things like resiliency, things like making sure that you communicate with clarity, because everybody says I communicate, not always with clarity, right? So these types of principles are who I am, and I try to show up like that every day. And I will tell you, once I realized and I started to be me and understand how I could impact the world, like the people around me, and actually acknowledge that maybe I did have an impact with the people around me. As soon as I did that, everything started to feel better. Everything started to be better. So, then you say, what are some of the boundaries I set? That's when I actually started to set the boundaries, because you think you have to do all of these different things. And so when I set the boundaries and I made me first. So for example, I set time for reflection, because I'm a thinker. Like, I just need time to think, and I need time to scribble, and that's who I am. And that's, my team is like, they know if there's no whiteboard, there's better be a piece of paper or a napkin or whatever it is, because that's how I think. You got to be authentic to you, and then you bring people around. I make time for reflection. I make time to read, because I'm naturally a very, very curious person. Mm-hmm. I love learning about different people, and I make time for my family. I make time and what I realized is it's not only good for me as a person, because that's important, it's good for my being a leader. I think it makes me a better leader by doing that.
So the idea of modeling balance for others is very powerful. So do you take that into your mentorship program with aspiring young women and men?
I do. Thank you for bringing that up, because I'm very proud of this. So we have... because I believe in learning from all of the different things that you've gone through, the struggles, the challenges that you've had. So we have a great mentorship program within IBM, and I also do it outside of IBM. Mm-hmm. I believe in, you shouldn't be just saying, you should do. So we have a mentorship program that started and we restarted, right? And there's the official mentorship program, but it's really about being available and knowing all the people like, everybody. I tried to actually know everybody's name. I don't, within IBM, there's thousands of people at IBM Canada, but I try to make myself available, and I expect that others will do it. So it's really about showing people. I expect that the different leaders, and by the way, it's not just the people that are at the top, whatever that is, right? It's all of us. So it is try to show balance. I try to show the importance of network and communicating and building these types of communities. Mm-hmm. And then, by the way, you gotta help people along, right? Like, you gotta push, because a lot of times we can sit here and be, negative about certain things. And then I realized, okay, I'm the only one that wants me to be successful. So I'm going to make sure that I put myself in a space, and I create space for others to do that as well.
That's
so
fantastic.
And have open conversations.
Right.
Because that's the other piece of the mentoring piece. Do you want to receive the feedback? Right? So a lot of times, I'll tell you, I probably didn't ask for feedback because I didn't want to hear it. So sometimes we want to, and then you can decide, that's your opinion, thank you.
Right.
Or, okay, maybe. Right? But you can't do that. You need to be able to reflect. We have created a space. Yes, it started for females, for sure, and it was before this current role that I've got. So I became the president a year ago. But we also do it for females, males, right across the board, because it's really, I think it's important.
Important, right? So a healthy mix of tormentorship with mentorship, from what I can see, right?
Yeah.
A bit of push.
I torment anybody,
I think so, yes. In the few conversations we've had, I think you do.
But we're here, so you thought it was okay?
So let me skip one question, but let's go to this other one that we've talked a lot about with the questions this morning, I've heard, right? So as a senior executive of IBM, how do you advocate for responsible AI use in a way that aligns with IBM business goals and ethical principles, which is really a big discussion today, right? The whole idea of ethics and governance.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, we have, we're known, for those that don't know who we are, but we're very, I wouldn't say conservative. I would say we're careful, right? So there is absolutely nothing. We talked about our Client Zero. Any platform that we're building, the amount of rigor that it goes through. And I mean, again, remember, PhDs, I've got engineers. They are very methodical about this. There is governance in place. We've got an AI ethics board internally. Like, we make sure that we know where everything is. It's explainable. So those types of things, that's what we're doing internally. it isn't a practice. It's part of who we are. It truly is a part of who we are. Like, so it's almost like when we start at the beginning of the year, I'm sure that a lot of people do business conduct guidelines, and you have to sign, and you have to do all these things. Like, we've changed all of that to incorporate what's expected of each and every one of us. Because data there's a lot of it, but it's really important that you're careful with it. We, again, like I said, we're global, so it's, what's happening in Europe, what's happening in the United States, and what needs to happen in Canada. But we've got all of that built in to our into governance. There's just that nothing will ever go out unless we ensure that we know where it is and where we can find.
So really aligning performance and ethics
Yeah.
is really the key, right?
Absolutely.
That's excellent, right? Which is really, I think, a key to success for making sure ethics is important.
Yeah,
right?
and by the way, so there's all these. We're obviously encouraging people all the time to be innovative, think differently. Like, why not? So, like people, I'll have a conversation with somebody, and remember, originally I talked about our client zero. Client zero is us doing it first, us testing it first. So whenever sometimes you don't even know that it could be done differently, is what I'm noticing with our teams, right? So it's absolutely about, you start with your purpose, you understand who you are, what your identity is as a company, as a person, and then you're building solutions around, that.
Right.
And if at your core you believe in, in the ethics part of it, and the governance, then the sky's the limit. Right. However, go back to, it's about the purpose. It's about what do you want to do to drive productivity, to drive your performance. And you're leveraging that technology to get you there.
Perfect.
So I think that's the way that you keep things human, because it's really important for us to be creative together.
Right. Perfect. So that's excellent. So let's close the session. Hopefully we have some time for a few questions.
Oh, we're at
with
zero.
something that you're passionate about, right? You're a vocal advocate for girls in STEM. So what advice would you give to young women entering the AI field today who want to lead with purpose, but are navigating legacy-based systems and biases?
Yeah.
And then we'll open up some questions.
So a couple of things that I tell people. We do a lot of, I'm really, really proud of what we've done from a STEM perspective, and we bring in young girls, like really young girls, all the way up. We are, we mentioned our mentorship program. We mentioned, one of the things that I love seeing is we've gone across the country, different universities, and I'm bringing in, because it's scary. Being in university, it's scary. And what do? I don't know what I want to be. And I keep telling them I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, right? But the one thing that I tell people all the time is, don't underestimate the impact of your voice and your opinion. I think that's the one thing I wish people say, oh, what would you tell your younger self? That's the one thing I would tell myself. Because you go and you try to do, your voice matters and it's impactful. And this whole legacy and legacy systems and legacy thinking, it will never change unless we try to change it. Right? So we can sit there, we need to be proactive, be curious, understand your impact, and everybody has an impact. It doesn't matter if we've been around for a while or if you're younger, they all have impact. And I think I'm putting that into practice by encouraging people to maybe think differently about what IT is, what they can do, and the purpose that they will have within this organization. So just make sure, I always tell them, make sure that you know that your voice absolutely matters. You don't have to be in a leadership job and at the top, right? You just need to make sure that you participate and know and believe that it matters.
So be curious, speak up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.